Simba Nest Radio, sauti ya mwananchi.
Good morning and welcome to Simba Nest Radio, sauti ya mwananchi. This is Chambua Magazeti, and today kuna some good news, but I don't know if it's good news because it's like kuumwa ukipulizwa na panya. But anyway, hii ni Chambua Magazeti and you are listening to Simba Nest Radio and Simba Nest TV. You can reach us on our WhatsApp number 0728091656. On social media platforms, you will reach us at Simba Nest TV on YouTube, Simba Nest Radio on TikTok, X, Facebook, and Instagram. My name is Naitore Jean. Acha tuone yale magazeti yametubebea leo. Na don't usibanduke. So the first newspaper yenye tutaona leo ni Daily Nation, and Daily Nation inasema kuwa pumping up pain. That is about fuel. We all know ilikuwa imeongezwa, and it says a sharp rise in fuel prices by 40 shillings and 28 shillings per litre of diesel and petrol respectively will force households already struggling with runaway living costs amid shrinking incomes to shoulder a heavier burden after key sectors of the economy signaled higher prices that will inevitably be passed on to consumers. Meanwhile, opposition leaders have demanded implementation of sweeping tax reliefs and immediate termination of government-to-government oil import deals, alleging some powerful figures were profiteering from it, and vowed to mobilize nationwide protests if the demands are not met. Ndidi Nyoro yesterday said that this G2G thing, it only benefits the government and those who are involved. It doesn't help common Kenyan citizen in any way. And he also said that these people even buy money counting machines so that they can count the profits they get from this G2G thing. And so, after this pumping of oil, of fuel, who is gonna suffer more? The government or the common mwananchi? Yeah, it's obvious. And that is on page 4, page 5 and 6 of the Daily Nation newspaper. And other stories include raped off twice, how kidney donor who was paid peanuts lost again. Wow. That is on page 7. Let's try and read this. Emmanuel, 22, was among 4 young men in a house at Elguira View estate in Eldoret, where a doctor promised them 1.2 million shillings each for their kidneys, but after surgery, Kipkosgei said he was only paid 400,000 shillings. Later he had to bribe police to secure his release. His testimony is in a House report that also recommends Medihill Hospital gets back its license, except that an organ transplant. That is on page 7. Hey, this is bad. You're promised 1.2 million shillings for your kidney, and you risk it all just to receive money, not even half of what you was promised. And that is on page 7 of the Daily Nation newspaper. Also on page 10, bullying partners inside UDA were on allies. That is on page 10. And on page 8, civil servants join revolt against Shah. That is on page 8. Also, on page 14, audit exposes fraud in 119 billion shillings pensions payout. Oh God. Sipendi kuona watu wakicheza na mabilioni. Auditor General Nancy Gathungu questions the credibility of data used by the National Treasury to pay retirees, saying missing identification records point to ghost beneficiaries. Oh God. So kuna watu wanalipwa pesa ya retirement kama bado hawajaretire. Wow. Mahali tunaelekea as Kenyans, I'm afraid. That is the Business Daily newspaper. Let's see another newspaper. That is the Taifa Leo. Taifa Leo inasema kuwa ni kubaya. Ni kubaya wapi? Bei ya mafuta yaongezeka kihistoria, serikali ikisema ni kutokana na vita vinavyoendelea Iran. Bei ya mafuta ya dizeli yanayotumiwa sana kwa usafiri wa umma ndio iliyopaa zaidi kwa shilingi 40, nayo petroli ikaongezeka kwa shilingi 28. Sasa petroli inauzwa kwa shilingi 206.97, dizeli ikiuzwa shilingi 26.84, na mafuta taa imebaki shilingi 152. Wenye magari wanasema wataongeza nauli kwa 25%. What? Viongozi wa upinzani wakimshinikiza Ruto arejeshe bei chini mara moja, vinginevyo waitishe maandamano. Na habari kamili ipo ukurasa wa pili wa Taifa Leo. Pia tunaona kuwa sababu gani hufai kutumia msamiati mzito. Inasema kuwa katika jarida la lugha na fasihi kuna uchambuzi wa vitabu vya fasihi na nasaha kuhusu Kiswahili. Habari kamili ipo ukurasa wa 13 hadi wa 17. Pia tunaona kuwa wastaafu wagongwa pensheni yao. Mkaguzi agundua visa vingi vya watu hewa wanaonyonya pensheni ya wastaafu. ambayo tumesoma kwa gazeti la Daily Nation kuhusu jinsi watu ambao hawajaretire wanalipwa. Na habari kamili ipo ukurasa wa 3 wa Taifa Leo. Pia tunaona UDM shirika wa mabavu. Chama tawala cha ripotiwa kutumia nafasi yake ya mamlaka kutatiza vyama shirika kama vile EPRA, Ford Kenya, ANC na sasa ODM. Habari kamili utaipata ukurasa wa 3 wa Taifa Leo. Hakuna tiketi ya moja kwa moja Wanga. Mwenyekiti wa ODM asema chama hicho hakitatoa vyeti bila uchaguzi wa mchujo. Na hiyo ipo ukurasa wa 4 wa Taifa Leo. Na kispoti, PSG Atletico waingia nusu finali UEFA. Wazaba Liverpool na Barca wasubiri ama Bayern, Real, Arsenal au Sporting. Na habari hiyo kuhusu spoti ipo ukurasa wa 20 wa Taifa Leo. Na hayo ndio ya leo kwenye Taifa Leo. Mengine tuone gazeti la The Star. Na The Star inasema fuel price hike drives up family budgets across Kenyan economy. Kama tulivyoona, yule ambaye atateseka kwa hii kuongezwa kwa mafuta ni mwananchi wa kawaida. Yule ambaye bado alikuwa anateseka kwa mambo mengine. Na full story is on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. Also we see court upholds death sentence for 2 in brutal 2011 robbery. Wow. This seems kinda hopeful. Kama kesi ya 2011 bado iko. That is so many years down the line. Almost 20 something. Is it 20? But it's almost. If not almost, then tushapita. That is on page 9. Also we see alarm as sharp failures, acute understaffing cripple hospitals. And that is on page 7 of the Star newspaper. Also we see turning waste into wealth across lessons for Kenya. And that is on page 14 of the Star newspaper. Another newspaper is the People Daily. And People Daily says double speak master. And it says he rode to power on public anger over fuel prices. Now President William Ruto is grappling with the same crisis he once brushed off as excuses. Yeah, 2022. Hiyo ndo alitumia kujitetea sana. Kenyans never forget. We remember. And what will he do about it now? As pump prices climb past 200 shillings and his government leans on global war pressures he previously dismissed, the irony is stuck. The latest fuel shock is squeezing households, slowing business activity and tightening inflation's grip. A president who promised to crush cartels and a lower cost now presides over rising taxes, shrinking incomes, and growing public anger. A full circle moment that is on page 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the People Daily newspaper. And that was the Standard newspaper. The People Daily newspaper says, inside judiciary crisis, delays missing records, and 6.3 billion shillings stalled project. That is the People Daily. The other one was the Standard newspaper. Sorry, apologies for that. And the last newspaper for today is the Business Daily newspaper. And the Business Daily is saying Kenya fuel subsidies at risk as Saudi raises May prices. Kenya fuel subsidies at risk as Saudi raises May prices. And also, so that is on page 5. And the invisible co-founder asks for nothing except honesty. That may be the hardest currency one ever has to spend. That is on page 9. And on page 19, young Kenyans thrive in rural Denmark farms. That is on page 19 of the Business Daily newspaper. So, as you can see here, EPRA cuts VAT to 8%. Petrol now is 197 shillings and 0.60, and diesel right now is at 196.63. And the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury issued a surprise addendum to Kenya's April fuel pricing cycle on April 15th, that was yesterday, cutting value-added tax on petroleum products from 13% to 8%, and forcing EPRA to recalculate pump prices just 24 hours after announcing record increases. It continues to say, the revised prices, effective April 16th from today to May 14th, 2026, bring super petrol in Nairobi down 9.37 shillings to 197.60 shillings per liter. Diesel down by 10.21 shillings to 196.63 shillings, while kerosene remains unchanged at 152.78 shillings. And President William Ruto first announced the measure during a public address in Kisii on April 15th, framing it as part of broader government response to the fuel cost shock. So, personally I think hapa tunachezewa. ni kama unaumwa then unapulizwa. You understand? One day wanaongeza mafuta by 28 shillings and 40 shillings, right? Then 24 hours later wanaangusha by 10 shillings na 9 shillings. What do you think about that? Because personally I think ni ile kuumwa ukipulizwa. So no, these are games zenye hatupendi kama Kenyans, but we will just adapt, right? It says the April 16th prices include 3 cushioning measures applied in rapid succession at 6.2 billion shillings, Petroleum Development Levy Fund, deployment absorbing 4.68 shillings per litre on petrol and 23.92 shillings on diesel, a VAT cut from 16% to 13%, via legal notice number 69 on April 14th, and the further reduction from 13% to 8% via legal notice number 70 on April 15th. The kerosene stabilization deficit narrows from 108.10 shillings to 96.56 shillings per litre under the revised structure. So okay, it's okay mlitukatia hiyo mafuta, but still these are games. Anyway, I don't know your thoughts on that. This is Simbanes Radio, sauti ya mwananchi. You can reach us on our WhatsApp number 0728091656. On social media platforms, you will reach us at Simbanes TV on YouTube, Simbanes Radio on X, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. This has been Chambua Magazeti. I've been your host, Jane Naitore. Until next time, be safe, stay informed, and stay updated.
Simbanes Radio, sauti ya mwananchi.